Vanilla Fudge on Billboard's Hot 100 the week of March 15th, 1969. We're rocking with Shotgun, their version of the Junior Walker and All-Stars record. Vanilla Fudge, they were a cover band, but what they would do, they were quite original in how they approached this thing. They would do heavy guitar, organ-drenched, psychedelic versions of records like Nowhere. Well, they covered some Beatles records like Nowhere Man and Ticket to Ride. They also had their biggest hit with You Keep Me Hanging On by the Supremes and Shotgun, another one by the Vanilla Fudge. They put out 5 albums between 1966 to 1969. The first 3 albums that Vanilla Fudge put out, their first 3 albums was produced by a guy named Shadow Morton. Shadow Morton, a Brill Building songwriter back in the early 60s. He wrote Remember Walking in the Sand. He recorded that song with the Shangri-Las. He also recorded one of the Shangri-Las' biggest hits, Leader of the Pack, in 1964. He produced, as I've already said, Vanilla Fudge's first 3 albums. He produced their biggest hit, You Keep Me Hanging On, in 1968. You get into 1968, 1969. Groups like the Vanilla Fudge, Iron Butterfly, Amboy Dukes, they had that hit Journey to the Center of the Mind back in summer of '68. And of course Steppenwolf. They start, you get into these bands, you get into the evolution from psychedelic, acid rock, into the heavy metal of the 70s and 80s. Vanilla Fudge, they were that bridge between psychedelic and hard-hitting heavy metal. 4 guys in the Vanilla Fudge. The original lineup was Mark Stein. Lead vocalist, bass player was Tim. Oh my goodness, I can't read my chicken scratch. I believe it's Tim Bogert, but I could be wrong. And I apologize, I mispronounced the name. Lead guitarist Vince Martell and drummer Carmen Apis. I never can pronounce this guy's last name. Apis, I believe, is how you pronounce his last name. And I guess that's all I got to say about the Vanilla Fudge. One other thing about Shadows Morton, the name just strikes out at me. Shadows Morton, producer back in the 60s. He also recorded another hit song back in the 60s, 1967. Remember the song Society's Child by Janis Ian? He recorded that one for Janis Ian. But Shadows Morton did not produce this album, though. The album, by the way, this is from their 4th album, their version of Shotgun, called Near the Beginning. And it also features another cover song, Some Velvet Morning, which was covered, which was a hit, not a big hit, relatively minor hit in '68 by Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra. They covered that. Great cover band, psychedelic cover band, Vanilla Fudge. Another band that the Vanilla Fudge influenced, Deep Purple. Deep Purple just took their thing from the Vanilla Fudge. Richie Blackmore of Deep Purple said something to the effect that he wanted to start out, of Deep Purple, the group Deep Purple, he wanted to start out as a clone of the Vanilla Fudge. Profound influence on Deep Purple, Vanilla Fudge. Here's Vanilla Fudge. They come in, all right, here's the deal. The chart position on this record, they went from number 81 to number 72 the week of March 15th, 1969. This song, their version of Shotgun, will only get as high as number 68. That's not really bad considering that this is not a very commercial sounding record. This is just a jam session, an album cut that was put out as a single on Billboard's Hot 100 for 5 weeks. Here it is, Vanilla Fudge with Shotgun.